Welcome to the Rewards Master. Today we're going to talk about the epic battle of the super cards when it comes to hotel credit cards. There's really only two of them, the Hilton Aspire and the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. So if you would hit that like and subscribe button, almost to 500 subscribers, very excited about that. Costs you nothing, really helps me out. I appreciate it. Okay, when it comes to the Bonvoy Brilliant and the Hilton Aspire, there really isn't any other cards to compare them to on the market. When it comes to the big airlines, all three of them have kind of their premier credit cards that give lounge access and all that. United has their club card, American has the executive card from Citi, and Delta has the Delta Reserve. But when it comes to hotels, only two of the four big hotel programs have a top-tier card, and that is the Hilton Aspire and the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. Interestingly, both of these cards are issued by American Express. So you get an American Express card either way. So there's no comparison in this as to, well, is one going to be more accepted overseas than the other, that we often have with American Express versus Visa or MasterCard. So that's not really a factor. They're both Amex cards, so they both have the same basic customer service and all that Amex provides. So how do we evaluate the two? As we look at these two cards, I'm going to look at 7 different factors regarding which one's the best. And on each of them, I'll decide, well, this card's better than the other in this particular category. And at the end, whichever one in this head-to-head matchup has the most categories that they've won, we'll deem that kind of the king of the top level super cards for hotels. So what are these categories? Well, the first one is credits. You know, these are high annual fee cards. So you've got to have something to offset that, because when you're talking either $550 or $650 annual fee card, I mean, nobody wants to pay that and get nothing back. So we'll evaluate their credits. The credits on these are quite different, and we'll answer the question, which one has better credits? The second question has to do with their free night certificate. Both of these cards come with a free night certificate. With either one, you're going to get a really good night in a really good hotel, but they are different in how they determine these certificates. So one is kind of unlimited, the other one has a point total. Does that make such a big difference? Well, that's what we're going to evaluate. Next, we're going to look at the annual fee itself. How much does the card cost? And so that may or may not be a factor depending on how much you're getting back from those credits. And that's what we consider what is often called the net annual fee or the effective annual fee. But what we'll be looking at in that is just basically how much does the card cost? Because a lot of times it's hard to get back the full annual fee, and you still got to pay it out up front. So what's the annual fee and which is the better card in that regard? Then we're going to talk about a category that I'm just going to call amenities. In other words, what are the extras that you get with this card? Do you get any lounge access? Do you get any other kind of unique credits that are different from the other card? So we'll evaluate both of them based upon those extras that you receive. The next thing we'll look at is status with the hotel program itself. So with Hilton or with Marriott, what kind of status do you get? Because that status is going to translate into more upgrades, kind of more benefits as far as maybe lounges in the hotel and things of that nature. So that's pretty important on a high dollar, high level, top tier credit card for a hotel. So what kind of status do you get? Then we're going to look at the current sign-up bonus. And these bounce around a little bit, but pretty much I think the one that's available right now is going to be pretty close representation of what it typically is between these two going forward. So which one has a better sign-up bonus, which one has more value in the first year because of that? And we have to kind of evaluate, are their points aren't worth exactly the same, so which one's better in that regard too. And the last thing we'll look at is multipliers. If you actually use this card, which a lot of people don't have these cards to use on a day-to-day basis, but if you actually use this card, what kind of multipliers are you going to get? How's it going to do on day-to-day spend? So we're going to look at those 7 categories and rank each and every one of them. Now, before we get into each of those, I think I need to give a basic overview of each card. So let's start with the Hilton Aspire by American Express. This, of course, in the Hilton ecosystem. And with Hilton, this card gives you a whole bunch of really top tier benefits. I mean, it makes you a VIP at Hilton properties. Now, that's more true overseas. I have found great upgrades in Europe, and I understand that in Southeast Asia, it's great. In the United States, a lot of people can get this card, so the status that you get is not quite as good, but this card is a top level card. When it comes to credits, it gives a $200 airline credit every year. That's broken down into $50 every 3 months, but it's super easy to use. You can buy airline tickets directly with it, or if you want to bank it, you can put it in the United Travel Bank. So there's just a lot of flexibility. So that's a pretty good credit. It's a little bit of a pain. You got to do it 4 times a year, but pretty easy to get your money back on that to use at a later date. So the $200 airline credit. And then it comes with a $400, what they call the resort credit. And this is a hotel credit, but it only works on the list of Hilton resorts. How you tell that is when you pull them up on the app or online, they have little icons under each property that kind of tell you things about it. And if one of those icons says resort, then that's a resort property. And if you go to that twice a year, $200 in the first 6 months, $200 in the second 6 months, you'll get $200 off your bill. So you can put your room on that bill, you can put your food from the restaurant on that bill, you can put drinks on that bill. If you go and get a soda or whatever it may be, whatever it is, you can put it on there, and then when you check out, they're going to take it off $200. And you can do that up to twice a year. Now, the difficulty with this is it's not just an easy to use hotel credit. It's got to be used at a Hilton resort. And like for me, I've got to drive quite a ways or fly somewhere to go to a Hilton resort. So that makes it a little more challenging. But if you use it, this and the $200 airline credit together will give you back more than the annual fee. And speaking of that annual fee, it's $550 a year. So up front, you're going to put out $550. If you use all the credits, you're going to get back $600 just in those 2 credits alone, for a net annual fee, an effective annual fee of positive $50. And that's not even figuring the free night certificate. Now, Hilton free night certificates are considered the best of the best because they do not cap them. It's good on any standard room night award at any Hilton in the world. So you could waste it on something like, a Hilton Garden Inn for $100 or $150, but you'd be dumb to do that. The smart way to use this is to use it for a high dollar room. My wife and I, we're going in the near future to New York, and we're staying in the Conrad, and that was about $600-700 a night, and we're using our free night certificates. So when you figure that in, wow, that gives you another $500, $700, $1,000. The sky's kind of the limit. So you put those 2 together, you're getting back a lot of value because of those kind of uncapped free night certificates. It also gives a Clear credit. Now, Clear is kind of close to $200 a year now. It's a way to get through airport security faster because they kind of record either your eye or your thumbprint, and you can kind of go through security. They take you to the front of the line. I've had kind of hit or miss. It's not in every airport. I've liked it in some places. Other places, my TSA is just as quick to get through, TSA pre-check. So I don't know how to evaluate it, but it is something, and it's almost a $200 value. So you get that with the Hilton Aspire. Another great perk is you get Diamond status. And in the Hilton ecosystem, Diamond is the highest status you can receive. So this is really great overseas. In the United States, kind of hit or miss. If you do get an upgrade, it might be to a lower class room that's not really their suites or whatever. But overseas, I have found this to be, you are treated like a king because they never see this, because only people who live in the United States can get this card. So Hilton Diamond is the top of the top in the Hilton system, and you get it with the Hilton Aspire. Now, when it comes to multipliers, they're pretty good. You get 14x, plus you get, and I'm not going to count in, a lot of times the advertising will count in how much you get, and it's over 30 when you count in your Hilton status. But just the card itself gives you 14x when it comes to Hilton properties. It gives you 7x on airfare and on rental cars and on dining purchases. So 7 points per dollar spent. And then it gives 3 points per dollar spent on everything else. So that's a basic wrap up of the Hilton Aspire. It is considered by many to be one of the very best travel cards. And certainly if it's used correctly and you get all those credits, use your free night certificate well, you can get a lot of extra value from this card. Now its competitor is the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card from American Express. Now this card, kind of similar to the other, has some credit to offset its annual fee. And it comes with a $300 annual dining credit, which to give it credit, so to speak, you get $25 a month and it's super easy to use. Just use the card at any restaurant and you're going to get that money back. Fast food, takeout, whatever it may be. So super easy to use, $300 dining credit. It also comes with Priority Pass. So you get a Priority Pass. Now, a lot of folks who have this card are going to have other cards that have Priority Pass. But if you don't, this card gives you airline lounge access, which is really, really good. And it works at, I think it's over 1,300 or something like that, lounges around the world. So that is a great perk that doesn't exist on the Hilton Aspire anymore. So that comes with this card, the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. It also gives a free night certificate. Now, this one does have a cap, 85,000 points. And for 85,000 points, you can get a really good night. It can still be a $500-600 a night room, but you can't just pick any room that they have in any Ritz-Carlton or some of their other high-level properties. You do have a limit on it, but that limit is pretty high, where you can get a really good value room through using this card for your free night certificate. Now, the annual fee on the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant is high. It's $650 a year. Now, of course, you can get positive value very easily if you use that $300 dining credit and if you use that 85K certificate for good value. So it's not like you can't get your money back on that, but it is higher than the Hilton Aspire, so that has to be accounted as well. So $650 a year. This card also gives you status in the Marriott program, but it's platinum status. That is not their highest tier status. They have more tiers above that. But platinum status does get you things like pretty good, the way I understand it, pretty good upgrades, especially, again, when you're going overseas. And it also gets you access to hotels that have a lounge. You can go into that lounge and get free food and drink and all that. So even though it's not the highest status, it's kind of close to the highest status, or close enough that many consider it to be the sweet spot in the Marriott program. So yes, status, not quite the highest status, but still, I think most would say a very good status that you receive with this card. And when it comes to the multipliers, basically it's 6x on Marriott and 2x on everything else. So that's kind of how it breaks down. Now, when we break these two down and we look at our 7 categories in this head-to-head matchup, how do each of them rate? Well, when it comes to credits, I think the clear winner has to be the Hilton Aspire, because you can get back, even not using that annual night certificate, you can get back your entire annual fee and more. If you use, now yes, those resort credits are hard to use, and the dining credit on the Bonvoy Brilliant is very easy to use, but even if you use it all perfectly, you're just getting a lot more back with the Hilton Aspire. I mean, up to $50 more than the annual fee with the airline credit and the resort credit. So I think in this category, we have to give it to the Hilton Aspire. When it comes to the free night certificate, again, one is capped, one is not capped. So regardless of whether you think one property is better than another or one ecosystem's better, one just gives you any hotel in the world where you can find a standard night redemption. So Hilton Aspire certainly tops the list when it comes to the free night certificate. Annual fee, again, it could be argued how much you're getting back, but I still think that there's really no competition between the two, because not only do you get more back if you use all the credits with the Hilton Aspire, but the fee is $100 cheaper. So again, the Hilton Aspire takes the fee, annual fee category. Now, when it comes to amenities, the things that I'm putting in this are, for the Hilton Aspire, you've got the clear credit. And when it comes to the amenities for the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, you have Priority Pass. I don't think there's a competition in this. I think the Bonvoy Brilliant takes this one. It is the top dog when it comes to this category because Priority Pass, I mean, if you don't have lounge access, this is really, really valuable. And Clear, you can get TSA pre-check, and much of the time it's almost as good. So I'm going to give this category of amenities over to the Bonvoy Brilliant card. When it comes to status, it's kind of close because Hilton only has 3 statuses, but you get the top one. Marriott has more, but you get that 3rd level status platinum. They're close to each other as far as what you get for them. But I think with Hilton, you get the top status. So how can a not top status rank better than a top status? So I'm going to say the Hilton Aspire in the category of status as well. And when it comes to the sign-up bonus, and I haven't really talked about this with each of them yet, but the sign-up bonuses right now are on the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, there is a 95,000 point sign-up bonus. And that's quite a bit of Marriott points. You're going to get at least one really good room or a number of less expensive rooms with that sign-up. But the Hilton Aspire has 175,000 point sign-up bonus. Now, some would say, well, but Hilton points aren't worth as much. And that's kind of true. Some figure that Marriott points are worth 0.7 to 0.8 cents, each. They're not quite worth a penny each, but Hilton's are only worth about 0.5 cent to 0.6 cents each. So when it comes to that, they're not as good, but 175,000, that is 80,000 points more. And I have not noticed enough difference in prices that you wouldn't be able to get more with that 175,000 points. So in the sign-up bonus, again, the Hilton Aspire wins the day. And the last category is multipliers. The multipliers on the Hilton Aspire are just better. I mean, you get 3x on everything versus 2x on everything. And even if you add it up, what the points guy says that the points are worth, it's still more, or at least it's maybe just a little bit more, but it's still more with the Hilton. And you get those elevated 7x on airfare and cars and dining. So when we wrap all of that up, of 7 different categories, except for the amenities category, the Hilton Aspire won in every single other category. So it's 6-1 on those. So which is the king of the hotel super cards, the premier travel cards related to hotels, both with Hilton and with Marriott? Well, I think the answer has to be it is the big boy Hilton Aspire card, the king of hotel credit cards. You may agree, you may disagree. I'd love to hear your comments down below because I don't have the Brilliant card. I've thought about getting it, but I just can't see it as valuable as the Hilton Aspire. If I'm wrong, let me know and make all of your comments down below. And please, please don't forget to both hit the subscribe and the like button on this video. And we'll see you here next time.